But we are colleagues who are united in our belief that the good life is created through social practice that is set at a slow and steady pace, allowing for relationships to grow naturally through shared compassion, care, and patience. That the good life is found in the process of nurturing relationships with our communities, with our environment, and with ourselves, our heart mind. The Chinese word shu is a word that Marilyn introduced us, not shu, shin, a word that Marilyn introduced us to refer to how the heart plays a central role in our interpretation and maneuvering through life. Last, we believe that self-care through creativity and creative reflection is a powerful vehicle for continuous social transformation and social connectivity. So these are some themes that you will hear in our presentation, which is focusing on our work as professors and how we think of our students and classroom as the world and how we co-create the life we desire. Now on our abstract, and you'll see in the presentation different names of authors, so if anyone desires a reference list, email me and I will get one to you. Siobhan and Marilyn will present following my presentation, and I will start with telling you about my work in art therapy and how art therapy concepts promote the good life. So I always have to start with the definition of art therapy because you might be wondering, what is that? Well, it refers to how the creative process of art making is healing and life enhancing. And by healing, I mean a sense of making whole. So that when you are handling art materials, those serve as equivalents for experience, for life. So that feeling, thinking, perceiving, and representing are all integrated into a product that has special meaning for the artist, for the maker. The art therapist helps the artist to figure out that meaning. So I move on from there. Making art mobilizes positive energy and helps people visualize what's desired. The inward attentiveness characteristic of art making helps to center a person and counteracts the busyness of life. Making art together with others nurtures relationships and community. As people make art together, they share their vulnerabilities and their trust. They help each other problem solve, like try the green. And they point out strengths they see in each other, like, I love that what you made. So there's a sense that we are all in this together and a sense of community that develops. The art therapy program uses service learning in the curriculum to foster community because it helps prepare students with the qualities and knowledge that we want them to have. The sense of social responsibility, the sense of oneself as a member of the community, empathy, self-efficacy, things like that. And I gravitate toward the philosophy of service learning that speaks to a reciprocity or mutuality, that students work in the community because they have special skills or knowledge that they might bring to a real problem, but they also learn from colleagues in the community who experience the problem, and so together they address it, and community is built in that way. Jane Addams is someone that many fields have in their literature. She has in part inspired service learning for art therapy in that, well, she was someone who was born wealthy, but she chose to live a life of service because that was the good life. That was the life that had meaning for her. But some of her ideas that inspire art therapy service learning practice is that sense of service learning that I just told you about. Not charity, not service for charity, but solidarity. We're all in this together. We work together to solve problems. Also that she was willing to work for small changes, but keeping her eye on the big vision. And so this is something that students can do in the service learning assignments. She also used the arts to bring people together. by inviting immigrants from different countries to teach each other about their traditional handcrafts. A couple of things that service learners have said are that the real essence of service learning is realizing that what you project comes back to you, and that anytime I've helped someone, I've helped myself. And what a wonderful vehicle for art to say, I care about what you're saying. And secondly, it's my personal opinion that art is necessary to feel fulfilled in life. Not everyone expresses their art and creativity in conventional ways. Probably not everybody here is a visual artist, but playing in the garden, baking, tending to a car, you can always approach tasks artistically. Service to others is not possible without attention to self-care. Marianne Williamson wrote, "When I am centered within myself, I am part of the solution." And Gail Straub wrote about the rhythm of compassion, that balance we have to find, caring for others, caring for self. And she used breathing as a metaphor to help remind us of that. Breathe in, care for self. Breathe out, care for others.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So a happy day for me doesn't typically start with talking to a group of strangers in public speaking. So, hi, friends. Thanks for being here. So who's heard the term good design? Heard the term good design? Yeah, sort of, a little bit. What about the phrase design for good? You heard this, design for good? Kind of trendy right now in my world of design. Industrial design, graphic design, architecture, space design. So just to give you a little bit of a sense of where I'm coming from with this, but these are two distinct ideas. When I think about good design, I think about greater empathy and deeper human understanding in design process and practice. We sometimes call this human-centered design, and various spin-off terms including design thinking, social design, and social impact design, all promising a space for designers to move beyond designing products for retail-based consumption and instead designing objects, spaces, systems, and services to bring about greater social equality. I dug around for some definitions of social design, which is really what I'm talking about and critiquing today. And this one up here, if you can read it, is a pretty succinct one. It addresses developing a keen awareness of social realities, designing our way to a just and sustainable society, and working collaboratively. But if you look at the overall picture that's being painted here, and I highlight some of it in red, it indicates that the designer takes the position of privilege in this relationship, and in a position of control over the recipients of the design. We invite you to join us and to co-create with us, you non-designers who have actually invented things for yourselves without us. This is very much speaking from a place of privilege. And the reason why I'm bringing all this up today is that the good life is often defined by consumption and our access to consume both designed objects and designed experiences, right? Take your high-end hotel or resort, your car, your sailboat, right? And conversely, because this also calls into question goodness and how we frame social good. Ultimately, I am arguing that if we look at good in the space of social design, we need to call out the imbalances of power in the relationship of designer and design for. To me, this question started with a timeline. I wanted to map where I saw social design emerging and what was the broader context of social design and social movements that might be influencing social design. I'm sorry, social science and social movements that might be influencing social design. One thing that I want to call attention to, oh, you can barely read it. Right here, Rules for Radicals and Design for the Real World. Rules for Radicals was written by Saul Alinsky in 1971, and so was Design for the Real World by Richard Packnack, also written in 1971. These were both seminal texts for social design and social movements. And I call attention to this because designers, I've never heard a single designer, either one working in the corporate sector or the social sector, reference Saul Alinsky, or any other leaders of social movements, or the events that were taking place at the same time that social design and the origins of social design were starting to emerge. So that's what this is about. These quotes here from Saul Alinsky, well, and anyway, so, you know, oh, sorry, am I in the way here? And the other thing that I don't hear designers reference are the deeply social commitments that these people have made, right? And I think that really needs to change. So that's what I'm really arguing for here. These quotes here from Saul Alinsky really capture that. I argue that we need to slow down and build some real relationships if we want to do really good work. Not just work that makes us feel good. We need to commit to relationships with places and people, and not just projects, interventions, or events. And we need to gauge success not on material production, but on the instinctual feeling of strength in those relationships. And we can take our time with this. We can do this in a hyper-local way. We can embed ourselves in a community to build trust before we attempt to build things. And then this is my last slide, and I think I'm totally out of time. But this is a chart of the reality of what my life looks like, which is not all community service, right? I have my job, my work here at Wayne State. I have a consulting practice where I work with major corporations to bring empathy to their work. And then I also have my work in the community on the east side of Detroit. And not to get into all the details because we are out of time, but to me, the good life is the balance of all of these, of all of these segments, and that, like, to not feel guilty about doing a project with Pfizer because it takes me away from doing work in my neighborhood, organizing events, or working in a community garden, but then it also allows me that little bit of financial cushion to actually just give the people in my neighborhood who are doing really good work, like, some help that they really need, because all these projects are incredible and they're terribly underfunded, right? But like, I had to come to terms with that like I don't need to be doing this all the time, that I can be doing this up here and also be supporting and contributing to the work in my community. And then of course I have a few ongoing projects with my students working in the community, and we take field trips and things like that. So anyway, there's a lot more there, and you can reach out to me later if you're interested. Thanks.
All right. All right. This is a collaborative work that is now at the UGL Atrium, and hands-on collaborative work brings students together, creating tools for problem-solving, communication, and counseling communities. So I invited with Aaron Timlin as Hans K, and together we invited my class and to create this sustainable, portable, collaborative gallery. So we, on top of the subject matter, we invested them with this, and they had the venue at the undergraduate exhibition. And it was an experience of straight across rather than this model, beloved community over a classroom of individuals. Photography is such a tool now that is ubiquitous. It's exponentially growing in its use. It touches all of our aspects of our lives. And we are renegotiating this and what its meaning is. And with that, it's also placing it in the context. So I don't just teach the medium, I teach on top of it skills of leadership, cooperation, love for the beloved community, and where we are in this cultural moment, because it's potent. And we are alone together at the computer, and this continues, this shifting of this meaning continuously. iPhone, iMac, iPad, iCloud. There should be the Wii phone, Wii Mac, Wii Pad. Okay, right? It needs to shift. This fundamentally needs to shift. And the whole paradigm needs to shift. So in this creation, they as photographers were interdisciplinary, interactive, collective, cooperative, and they stretched their skills interpersonally. The buttons are small images offered to take for gifts that extend the social space of the gallery. And thanks to Diane, who's in the audience, and to that wonderful space that is consistently honoring exhibition space on a continual basis. And it's a beautiful space, and it's still there now, so you can go see it right after it's our last day, so please go see it. And to address this, because it was an interactive, interdisciplinary, horizontal exchange, and everybody coming from their place of excellence, entitlement, imagination, creation to solutions, Rolla thought about Spiral to address it as a sculpture. They were invited to participate in the sculpture symposium, so they created this that was a flat, dimensional, to a third installation, and they won first prize. And what they truly won was the beloved community they created and the new skills forged. The vibe among this group of students that are right there are the most amazing I've ever experienced, because they got it. They got the synergy, the collaboration, the beloved community, and they really have forged relationships that they never had before. Much of it is students coming from Arab American culture where they discovered which coming from a marketing context to an art context, and the men relate differently. They're not hierarchical, they're like straight across, and she got such a sense of being seen and respected that her leadership qualities were bloomed, and she emerged as the leader, and it transformed the very paradigm of how she's considered a major. She's still in marketing because we need those. We need people in business in the arts, but it totally shifted her life. And Grace D. Boggs lived to 100 years and 100 days to become an icon. And she's the model for me of that beloved community that we got from that lineage to Martin Luther King and all the visionaries. So in this transformation of Halloween, truly honoring an ancestor that is iconic, that has created so much change here. That there's an African verb that says when an elder dies, a library burns. The social media honored this ancestor all October. PBS made free and accessible film, The American Revolutionary, The Evolution of Gracie Boggs. Democracy Now! Listed all her interviews on YouTube. Okay, and so what that is an example of is of the permeable information that our students are already invested in. So we have to have that straight across model. We can't have the top-down pedagogy that we exercise. We have to transform this institution and this educational system from the inside out and get where they are in terms of permeable content that they're accessing, and they know they're the teacher and we are the student. Thank you.
All right.
Directed to which presenter you'd like to answer them. It's awkward, but you knew what I meant. Any questions?
Does anyone need more time?
Back there.
I was going to ask the last speaker about Gracie Boggs, which has passed recently. Can you address that?
Okay, what I want to say is that in this model of permeable content is that because I'm so fierce about this now, because she's downloaded us as a cultural meme, is that I have put on all my classes required reading, because we have Blackboard, we can post anything, and I think we have to be responsible to this. We can't just teach the subject, we have to address this moment of the clock time of the world, as she said. We have to inform our students how to be responsible, participatory, and so I have PDFs from the Boggs Center on required reading for all of my art classes, and before, the students thought it was segue. Now they're hungry for it. If this is the time, it's a 4-year cycle from that radical time of the 70s. This is a more radical time. They're ready, they're hungry for it, they weren't hungry for it before. It took me a long time to integrate this, and now I have those tools. She truly is in us. We not only remember our ancestors, we become them.
Good.
Any other questions? Again, let's thank the panel. Okay, we have to switch computers for the next presenter.